Te Totara Stars.
Hi, I'm Yusuf. I'm a Year 6 student at Te Totara Primary School. Today I'm interviewing Mrs. Fletcher and Mrs. Collins. Hi, Mrs. Fletcher and Mrs. Collins.
Hi, Yusuf.
Hi, Yusuf.
What was your first job before you started at Te Totara, and what made you apply to it?
My first job was at Cambridge East Primary School, and I decided to apply because it's pretty exciting to be a part of a new school, and my other job was only for a year, so I needed some money.
So I was teaching as well at St Columbus over in Dinsdale, and I decided to apply at Te Totara because new schools don't come up very often, and I thought it would be exciting and a challenge and be good for my career.
What was your role at day one of Te Totara?
I had the brand new 5-year-olds, so I had 6 kids on the first day, and they were all in their first year of school.
On the first day, I was the Year 2 teacher. So I had the 6-year-olds, and I started with 14, and I think I was the biggest class of the school at the time. So that was pretty exciting. And the classroom that we were in right now is my very first classroom. So that was exciting.
What did you remember on the first day at Te Totara, and how are you feeling?
Well, we'd had quite a few meetings, and then it was quite exciting that the children were finally here. Lots of things still weren't finished, and so that was challenging, but it was really exciting. All the parents stayed around, and we cut the ribbon, and it was pretty cool. I should leave some things for you to talk about.
I remember being really nervous because there was the newspaper there was photographers, there was media, there was lots of people. And I remember being really nervous because it was something new that we'd all come to. But it was exciting, and the kids were excited. But I remember just being really nervous and really hot because it was a beautiful day. And I remember it being really, really warm and dusty because there was lots of dust around at that point because we had no road, buildings weren't finished. There was a lot of dust. So that's what I remember.
What was your first year at Te Totara like?
You want to start? Yeah.
My first year was exciting. It was forever changing because we'd always get new people. Things would change. I moved halfway through the year over to Orion when that started. And the teacher that I was working with at the time became pregnant, so I was kind of leading it. We kind of became a new team. So I just remember lots of changes, lots of people coming, but really fun too because it was the first time we were doing things. It was the first time we were having sports events, and there was just so much fun. Everything we were creating was to last, and it's really cool now to see those things still happening. So, sorry.
That's great. It's very well said. It was an exciting year. Like you say, there was lots of changes. When we first opened, all of Orion and Matawhito was still fenced off, and because it wasn't finished, and so that came down, and grass started growing, and the road finally got finished. And I remember it was cool because you'd be out on duty and you knew the names of every single child out there because there was only 50 kids in the whole school at the start, and so that was quite cool as well, knowing all of the students. And as the year went on, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just kept on growing. But it was a really great year, really exciting and loads of fun, lots of decision making, but it was awesome. Good memories.
What was some of the memorable moments that happened during your time at Te Totara?
Well, there's been a few. Mrs. Fraser's car being left in the car park and the diggers all digging around it is one of my favourite memories. And her car also ended up out on the field one time for races with the ride-on lawnmower. Winning the bet with Mr. Sheedy about when the road would be finished. That's a highlight. I think of some more. What you say?
Wow, how do I top those? I think my favourite, well, for me it was career-wise because I was getting mentored into becoming a team leader. So I was the first, apart from Mr. Sheedy, Mrs. Fraser and Mrs. Weiner, Mrs. Brookwatt, I became the next person as part of the leadership team. So that for me, that was like my biggest memory. And doing being the yearbook, I created one of the yearbooks, and that was really cool. Probably one of the best memories for me was when I organised the SPCA day, and we had the whole school dress up as animals, and we had a trailer, and we bought everyone bought in a can of food, and we got a whole trailer load of food to go to the SPCA, and we also raised $500, and it made it into the newspaper. That was quite cool. I was quite proud of that too. Probably also all the student teachers that I worked with that came into the classroom, and I helped them on their way in their career. But probably the kids and the staff, and obviously Mr. Sheedy being here, and the growth that he helped me with my career and was always there to support. So many memories because it's been 10 years, coming up 11 next year.
I feel like I need to say something more serious now.
Oh, you can say all that.
But when we got the sports uniform, so before we had that, kids had to play touch and cricket and everything in their white T-shirts. And me and the sports team at the time, we got to pick the sports uniform and got that up and running, and that was pretty cool. And I think our first Olympics day was one of my favourite memories as well, when everyone dressed up and had their flags and everything, and just seeing how amazing athletics days are now, how they've grown from the little thing that they were, but to now being so well organised and so many parents coming to support. So,
I got one more thing. Another thing that I remember is that I was really lucky and got to be part of the group that designed, not fully designed, but was part of the design process for Earth and Ra when we were building more buildings. So we got to implement things in those classrooms that we didn't necessarily so like about the first build. So that was quite cool, and I got to pick purple, which was my favourite colour. So and I was lucky enough that I got to be in that building as well. So that was quite cool.
Air conditioning, eh?
Yes.
We got to say put in air conditioning. Yeah.
How are the things different now from when you started Te Totara?
So many things. So many things. Just the fact that it's a big school changes everything. Like we said, there was only Marama and Milky Way up and running on the first day, and even in the first year, the other two pods. But I feel really proud of all the changes. I think it's fantastic the way it's growing, and it's growing this much because it's a great school.
And I think what's so different now is it's really neat to see teachers that have worked here, like Mrs. Collins, bringing her own child here. So when she started here, she didn't have children, and that's really cool because that says a lot about a school, in my opinion. But yeah, lots of changes, and that's just what has to happen as a school gets bigger. But the foundation of the stars is still the same, and that was something that we created and have enforced through the years. So the foundation of what the school is all about is still there, even though we get more people and more classrooms. That doesn't change. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having us.
Thanks for listening to us.